Hello guys, and welcome to the Chapter 42 Rant. Now, if you're not into really background storytelling, like inspirations on characters, where they come from, what they're doing, what inspired this story, how this went and that went, this video isn't for you. I don't want to clickbait you or waste your time. You're probably better off going and watching a different video, doing something different with your day. This is normally for people that really like the background stuff of how the story's made, how the characters are made, and how just the background stuff, pretty much. I like the background, like the second DVD you got in the video case you brought, which basically was like deleted scenes and background information and all that sort of crap. So, if this is for you, I hope you enjoy. It's going to be a bit of a long one because we've had to cut Chapter 42 into two different videos because it was a bit long. This takes place in the month, pretty much a month into winter. The very last year, the 12th month of, it's pretty much the December of Tamriel, called Evening Star. So, like the heart, or pretty much going into the heart of winter. We travel through all the main characters that we've come across. Not the number one main character, because this is to catch up with the people, the characters that really started this series. The ones that arrived before the main character. This is catching up with their lives right now, while the table's turned across Skyrim. And I love it because the AI gave me this idea. And it's called The Three Harbingers of Doom. This is kind of what I wanted to go for Skyrim. I consider this the turning page from Book 1 to Book 2 of this series. This is the turning point. This is where the shit properly hits the fan. You know, the Civil War was the first one, the vampires the second one, and now we've got dragons. Skyrim has become a very, very dangerous place. Not to mention that it's now winter. The environment itself will kill you. Traveling around, you know, vampires will kill you, probably take a random arrow to the chest from a rogue arrow, or you mind your own business and all of a sudden your house is burnt down by a dragon. It's not a safe place. But we're going to catch up with all the characters that made this story before the Dragonborn came along. So I think there's 10 of them, or 8 of them. I don't really remember. I might have 9 main characters, I think, but we will not be seeing the Dovahkiin in this one. She will have her own couple chapters in the next one, focusing on her because, well, destiny is calling. Let's get in and talk about the inspirations and backgrounds of the characters from both Chapter 42 Part 1. We're in the heart of winter, and we pretty much take on a month after Sigurd has taken Whiterun for the Stormcloak Rebellion. And they're quite proud. They are in winter, which is a lot more, well, easier on them. It's still very fatal to a Nord. They'll die if they get caught out in the blizzard. But they got to travel at daytime when it's not so freezing cold, but also travel together in warm clothing. It's their time of the seasons, right? So the Nords can work better in the cold than Imperials. Imperials, unfortunately, are on the declining side of the war, plus winters come along, and a lot of their forces, a good probably 80% of their forces or 70% of their forces are Imperials, or not native to Skyrim, so they will suffer a lot in the cold. Because they're not born to it, they're not used to it, and they don't have a resistance to the cold. So now they're on the defense, and they're, you know, all they've got, well, not anymore, not in this chapter, all they've got is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Marshes of Morthal, and Markarth and Solitude. That's all they've got right now. And they, like I said, they're on the back end of the war, and the Stormcloaks are making a move, and they can still move through winter if they travel during the day. But they will not, you know, the Imperials won't. They'll hold what they've got. Now, I like this chapter because it's Sigurd. Sigurd's one of my favourite characters. She's very beautiful. But I made her because of Ulfric Stormcloak. Now, there are spoilers, of course, but if you've been watching this series, you're going to know who she is. Who her dad is. I base these characters because Ulfric's entire characteristics are just unimmersive and stupid. He's a 50-year-old leader of a territory that has got no wife or no children. Like, does he spend time with Trollbane? Because he might be in that side of the thing, but it doesn't make sense because Ulfric's entire thing is based on Nord prowess, pro-Nord. I've never seen a racist in my life that isn't homophobic, and it's obvious. I don't know, man. I don't really see Ulfric taking it between the cheeks, right? So I made him 2 secret daughters that he would have had a love affair with his housecarl during the Great War, and they came to be. They have no idea who their dad is. No one does. The only people that know about it is Tova, their grandmother, and their actual father. So this is how Sigurd and Brianna came to be. They were born from a secret love affair well, it wasn't really secret, but a love affair from his time, in the Great War to then his time in the Markarth incident with their mother, who was his housecarl, Morana Bearclaw. Now, their story, I've really, playing these characters, you kind of jump into their shoes and you start to really feel like you know them a little bit better. It's weird. Like, I kind of feel pro-Stormcloak. I understand them, playing as them. I'm walking in their shoes, and I love the Stormcloaks, and I love their story. When I first made this, man, I had no friggin' idea that I would be doing this much story with Sigurd, giving this much personality, this much story. But I'm glad I have, because it's made her so much of a richer character, and I love that. I love that I've made her so much better. I love that, that her and her unit are close-knit, companions or friends. Because the Nords are very hardy. They're very into family, they're very into friends and close bonds. Whether, her brigade are all hand-picked by her and a sister and a grandmother. Either they're, close friends of the family, or they're prowess in the battlefield, So, again, I like the Bearclaw Brigade, or Battalion, depending how big it is, because it feels close. Every one of them feels like a friend. Where for the Imperials, for Centaurus, they're just soldiers. Some of them they're friends, they're comrades, but they're no level, unless there's a couple of them, they're not on the level that the Bearclaws are. Where they are considered best, they're friends, they're good friends. That they would willingly jump into the fire to save each other, where the Imperials probably wouldn't. Because, it's just the way Nords are. They're very companionate, they're very hearty when it comes to people they consider close. They keep them bloody close. And I love this about, her being a Nord, because she's just hardy, and I'm going to keep repeating it, but I love the fact that they are close. They are close-knit. They are one unit, I guess you could say. Now, there isn't a scene in this. I blurred it out so you can't see any genitals, and I don't want that to be this sort of series. But again, sex is a natural part of storytelling. It's a natural part of an adult's life, and especially a soldier's life. It's not guaranteed that you'll live through tomorrow. An arrow can hit you in the neck. You could move the wrong way and cop a sword right through the throat, or this or that. So she's going to live life like it's her last day. And blurring it out is how you stop that, seeing they're going against YouTube's policies, but also showing that there's grounded life to this. That she's an adult, he's an adult. They're going to live life because every day could be their last, and that's the way I want them to be, because it's the way it is. You don't say much with Centaurus because they're not really that close with each other. They definitely, they'll definitely shag if the time is right and the place is right, because they're soldiers and they got nothing else better to do sometimes. But it's not really based on that. They're not as close. They're soldiers. That's their main profession is working as Imperial soldiers. Stormcloaks, their not main profession is being a soldier. Their main profession is ridding Skyrim of the Empire. So they keep each other close because they're not getting paid by their king to serve in the army. They're all volunteer based. They're there because they want to be. Imperials might be, but they're sent where they're paid to go. Right? That's kind of the way they work. So that's what I mean by the Stormcloaks are very different to the Imperials, and that's kind of why I like this scene right here was perfect, because Cecilia was here and she was killing a vampire, and I was like, holy shit, dude, because this kind of happens. Right? This happens in Chapter 2, which I wasn't even thinking about when I recorded this. But maybe this is a couple of days earlier. She finds herself back in Whiterun, and it gets attacked by vampires again, because I've been leading on to the vampires that are becoming a serious threat. So, this actually happens in Chapter 2, where I play as her, and she kills a vampire. This isn't the exact same one, because she doesn't have Rita with her. But I thought, holy shit, she's actually doing what her story is based on, well, I'm not playing as her. This is AI driven. And then she got at me for some reason. I have no idea how this happened or why this happened. But it's bloody cool that it did. I mean, this is cool. She's getting angry at me for something. And I was like, alright, I'm playing a Stormcloak commander, pretty much. I'll let you go. I got a higher position than a guard. Nothing's happening here. You killed a vampire. But so it just worked into the story because it was natural. And this is what I love about storytelling. That sometimes these stories, they write themselves. And a lot of these did. Or the ideas came fresh into my head while actually playing it, and they all worked out because throughout this entire chapters, you will have all these days. All these characters will go through the exact same days, apart from one of them, as in the contractor. But their days are their chapters are all the one day, and they'll walk past each other without even knowing about it. It's the chapter starts at the 11th. There'll be times they'll walk past each other, or they'll see certain things and hear certain things. Like in Sigurd's one, the closest thing she gets to is during that time of the morning when she's talking to Cecilia, the thief is breaking out, the Jarl of breaking out Bolgrith from the prisons. And then just soon after this, when she's walking to the keep to grab her Bearclaw Raiders, she hears a roar, which 2 hours later will be the very dragon that attacks Fort Sunguard. And then she goes off, and she feels very strange for some reason later on after the battle. And it's because she can feel what her sister feels. She... twins. I'm not a twin, but I've got a best mate that's a twin, and they sometimes feel the same thing that each other's feel like. It's weird. He's like, he'll randomly have a thought. He has no fucking idea why, but it'll be the thought that his twin had, And I'm just like, what? I was like, what if she's doing a certain deed? I was like, he's like, sharp, bro. I don't want to hear about it. But so I thought, since they're twins, and this is the first, well, not the first time, but the first times they've been forcibly split. They don't like that, and she feels her pain later on in the night. She's like, why do I feel this? But she's feeling what Brianna's feeling, being alone, being injured, being scared, and this is kind of what she feels through that story. Now, Sigurd's path was very sort of, wanting to show Ulfric, wanting to show their mother they could fight, and they got to that point. They showed that they are very brilliant soldiers, and because they were sick of being put in the background stuff. They didn't like that, They're being protected. They didn't know why. Obviously because it's her grandchildren, but also secretly, Ulfric didn't want to throw them into the mix because they're his children. He doesn't want them to die. Even though they don't know that he's their dad, he doesn't want to throw them to the meat. But they like their mother. They proved themselves worthy. He couldn't hold them back because they were just too damn good. And something would start to look sus if he kept holding them back. So now they've got the reins of things. And Sigurd's whole entire purpose isn't to slaughter Imperials because she wants to kill Imperials. She knows death's going to follow on both sides wherever she goes. She'll kill many Imperials, but they'll kill many of hers. She just wants them gone from her land so they can restore Skyrim back to the old previous days of Nord power, where Skyrim was its own independent country and strong to survive on its own. And that's kind of how her story goes. That's how it starts. She wants to prove herself, she proves herself, and then she starts to be a bit weighed down by the war with all the friends and family that keep dying, or the people she holds close. And that's kind of how it goes. She's in the midst of all the shit. She wants this war to end, but she also knows the cost of it, and she will go very to the end of it until she dies or until it's over, no matter how many friends, no matter how many people she has to kill before she removes Empire from Skyrim. That's her number one job. But throughout this chapter, it kind of changes a little bit, because on her own, she's not around Brianna, and Brianna's a very impulsive, kick-ass and ask questions never sort of character, where Sigurd's very tactical, very think about it before you do it. And without Brianna being there, she's an instrument basically in the hands of a child instead of an adult. And Brianna does something stupid and follows their impulses. She sees a dragon attack a fort of Imperials and think, alright, they killed the dragon, good, but they're going to be slaughtered from that, let's go and finish them off. And she followed her impulses and she paid for it. And of course, Sigurd, they don't know that she's alive, because these Imperials spared nobody. I mean, the bodies were everywhere, and the scouts report that none survived. So she thinks her sister's dead. She went from being eager to prove herself, to eager to remove the Empire, to feeling guilty about those she loses. But now she's angry. Now she's pissed. Because Imperials just killed her sister, her twin, her other side. Twins are something different compared to normal siblings. But they killed her sister in battle, and she's revving, she's angry. Now she wants to kill Imperials. Now anybody wearing the red is going to suffer. But I definitely want to say a big thank you to 11 Labs AI, because they're holy shit, that AI is nuts, man. I could start a network sex talk dating app, man. Have like a filter that basically replies to people on the spot with actual emotion, because the emotion of this AI is nuts. I was able to rev the AI to basically get the adrenaline pumping. When she goes in that battle, she's like, I'm going to rev these soldiers, and then she gets angry. She starts to like actually yell and shit. And it's good, especially at the end of it when she's told that her sister is dead. You can feel the sadness in her voice, and you can then feel the anger when she wants to slaughter every single Imperial in front of her eyes. Like, you can feel it. You feel her sadness, you feel her pain, and that's the great thing about 11 Labs AI, is that I can sell this story so much more authentically with that AI, because you feel this character's pain like you would read it in a book. Because this is, after all, a playable novelization of Skyrim, like a TV series, kind of played and through the eyes of a book. But yeah, I'm going to give big kudos to 11 Labs AI, because the emotional range in their AI is nuts, man. This story would have never started without their stuff anyway. The whole idea of doing this story came from seeing how crazy it was of their AI voice, especially with Todd Howard. But we're going to jump into a brand new character, and she's not the greatest character, but I think she's one of my smartest, and she's one of my newest. She's definitely a unique sort of character, especially to me, since she was a last-minute design, but she's also a very tactically well-designed character. Now, I tried to keep this one short, because at the end of the day, thieves aren't even my favourite, but I like her because she's unique, because her name's called Topher the Fox, right? I wanted her to be stealthy. I wanted her to be unseen. And I made her hair ginger because normally foxes have ginger coats. And I made her eyes kind of like somewhat golden, because when I looked at pictures of foxes, all their eyes are like sort of blistering yellow. So I thought, why not make her look like a fox? She's going to be stealthy, unseen, but she's also very smart. She grew up in an orphanage, and she left when she was like 15 and joined up to a bandit crew. But she wasn't stupid about it. She didn't do it so she could kill and rage. She did it so she could survive. And she left these crews because they were too bloodthirsty, and she created her own. Even older people joined her because she had her head about her, not killing people. It was just about taking and surviving and raiding other bandits, because she'd take what they took and she'd kill them, because no one's going to come looking for her unless it's other bandits, and the law's not going to come down in her head for killing other bandits. And this entire chapter was based on the events of changing ever since she became the boss. It's to update what happens in winter. Maven Blackbriar has now been removed from Rift since the Stormplague's owners. Their patron's gone. The Battleborns fled Whiterun since the Stormplagues took over. Now their patrons are gone. This is kind of updating what's happening. The Thieves Guild isn't looking all too that great, because they've lost 2 patrons to 2 cities, and the Stormplagues aren't very forgiving to criminals. No longer can they pay the guards the other way, because the Empire's a lot more lenient, a lot more forgiving. They don't really care unless you make it too much big of a noise. I also want to, all these chapters kind of start on the same day, so I want their stories to kind of overlap with different characters. Pretty much this scene is right after the board, and this is Sigund going towards the Greymane house to have dinner with him, to share a night with Avelstein. She has no idea that there's a thief pretty much in the shadows right behind them. The reason they show the pure darkness is because they can't see her. And she's feeling the exact same thing she felt when she saw Centaurus in the prisons, and the same thing she saw when she saw Ragni on the Dragon Bridge. Because all these companions of the Dragonborn, they all have this weird sense about each other, like a sixth sense. They can feel each other, because they're destined to save the world together, sort of thing. So, she thought it was a one-off with Centaurus. She then felt it again with Ragni months after I feel like a month or weeks after getting out of jail, and then she felt it again with Sigund, who she's never seen before, and she's very strange. Now, this idea actually came randomly. It came very last minute, because I didn't want it to be some boring little chapter where I just stole things and updated on her life. I thought, I've got Jarl Bolger from the prisons. Why doesn't she do a jailbreak? He's an Imperial Jarl, and they would pay a lot of money for him to get out, and they can't really win him out at the moment, or for a while. So why not pay criminals to get him out for him? They're going to pay generous money. They've lost 2 patrons, and the Thieves Guild might want a big contract, and she's going to do this herself, because she's obviously had someone come in and tamper with things, like that dude that actually does jailbreaks. But her goal is to jailbreak. Get locked up, put in. She's been given information from Synod, or what his name is. He's a jailbreaker, that he's loosened the crate. And then, he's made a passage through that will allow her to kind of slip through into the guard room and, take a quick shot at the guard and get her gear and break him out. And I kind of like this idea. It was the very last second, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Why don't I do this? Like an actual jailbreak. This is very much her sort of realm of expertise. She will kill people. She's not, this isn't the Oblivion Thieves Guild. If you're on the road and you're on the road of not getting the job done, they will kill you. End of the day, she's not shy to kill. She could definitely be a good assassin if that was her thing. But I built her character not to kill. Her character doesn't on purpose kill like the Contractor does. The Contractor does it for fun, does it for enjoyment, because it's his purpose of life. Hers is to survive and to take without killing everything. But again, I'd imagine if the bandit business failed and she became an assassin, she'd be an absolutely lethal assassin. But this, like I said, I liked this part of the quest line because it was brand new, it was on the spot, and I thought, well, this could play into the story. I mean, the very end of the story, you see Centaurus bring up, there's a the old Bolgriffs in the prisons, but again, all these take place in the same sort of day. So even though his chapter's very last, and he brings up that he's in the prison, he's already been freed beforehand that you can see. But like I said, they all start on an 11th, apart from the contractors. So it hasn't actually happened for him just yet when he's talking about that. These characters will weave past each other in stories, or certain things will happen, like Ragni and Topher on the stairs right beside the old Talos statue, or the Roar of the Dragon with Ragni picking up her troops soon to attack Sunguard. And there's many more of them, like the spy that Centaurus shows. He's actually in the corner during Ragni's meeting with her sister and her grandmother. All these sort of things are to loop to, because I wanted to update on the world through the heart of winter, what's going on with all these characters. Not all the characters. I did do the Dragon Ball, but I thought shit's gone on way too long. And maybe it's not her time to really be shown. I'll show the major threat to Skyrim, the big bad guys, what the game's actually based on, like this main story. But I will show these characters that help make my Skyrim the Skyrim that it is, that help breathe life into Skyrim before the Dragonborn turned up. They were the main characters of Skyrim, where the Dragonborn is the main character of Skyrim, if that makes any sense. So it was best to update these guys and leave her out of it, leave the Dragonborn out of it, because she's Destiny's calling and it'll rock up pretty soon. But at this current time, so what you're seeing right here is Centaurus' dilemma happening pretty much through the eyes of Topher. She can see what's going on over there. Centaurus, the poor bastard, is in the middle of it. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to focus on the characters that made my Skyrim before we get into the big main story of Skyrim. And these dragons, they haven't been seen for thousands of years, apart from the contractor. But you hear their roar, it incites fear and panic, and you see them. You can't believe your eyes, and you're paralysed with fear, and your instinct is to run. And that's kind of where I want to go with this. But we'll see more of Bolgriff later. Next time we see him, we'll have a bit more hair back, because it will be a while until I want to do a sort of campaign to take back Whiterun from the Stormcloaks. But this is just a good little chapter. It was kind of made on the spot when it comes to Topher. I'm glad it worked out, because I didn't want it to be small and boring, and it actually, sometimes these stories just write themselves, or just come up on the spot, and I love that. Now I'm going to get into a character that's one of my favourites. He's a unique individual, or a little bit sick in the head, but again, wouldn't be very fun if he wasn't. Now, the contractor, right, his official name is Aurelius Tharn. He's sort of an ESO-inspired character, and I definitely take ESO lore into account in my story. And he brings up the dragons that he saw them elsewhere, like in the Second Era, because again, there's a DLC for that. Before then, the dragons were only in Skyrim, blah 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 blah, which makes no sense to me, right? Dragons are like crocodiles; they're very territorial creatures, right? They're not following Elderine, and they can fly. Why the fuck would they stay in Skyrim, fighting amongst themselves? You've got wings, man, and civilizations back then were underground. Would you not go, alright, I'm sick of this in-house fighting shit, I'm fucking off, I'm going elsewhere. I'm going to Blackmarsh. I'm going to some mountain somewhere where dragons just won't annoy me. I have my own little territory. Which kind of makes sense to the old ESO dragon thing, because dragons aren't going to want to follow always one dragon. They might want to do their own thing. And they might fuck off from where the main thing's happening and go run their own shit, So the last time he saw dragons was kind of in the prime of his life. He was a vampire. He was a member of the Worm Cult. He was an assassin for him. And when Menamarco failed, Mulek Ball's plan failed, he became an assassin. And he found himself in elsewhere when he saw a dragon for the first time, slaughter an entire army and burn down a city, and he decided to leave. He didn't want none of that shit. There's even this assassin built on basing the world to fear him. There's one thing that he doesn't want anything to do with, and that's a goddamn flying, fire-breathing dragon. So he does fear a certain thing, and he'll run from it. And, I don't blame him, because, again, it's a big-ass flying dragon, at least 15 times the size of a human being, that can breathe fire. So he doesn't really stand a chance. He'll just end up in a pile of ash. I love this character because he's just so dark. he's not like the other companions. He won't sense them because he's not destined to help the Dragonborn. His entire goal isn't to be like the Standing Stones, pretty much. The warrior, the thief, and the mage, like Minerva, Tonrok, and Tofara. They are based to join the Dragonborn. He is not. He is sort of based there to fill in events, to end events. He is death itself. So when the Civil War comes to a peace treaty, you know, his goal is to kill the Emperor, right? But why would the Emperor come to Skyrim if, like, there's a civil war going on? It's too dangerous. The spies, assassins, and they kill their enemy's actual leader. That's a major morale blow. That's a major fucking, like, that's you can't do that. You would never put the Emperor in that position to go into a place with war in it. He'd get killed 100%, or they'd definitely try something. But with the peace treaty, by the Dragonborn, either side can't afford to fuck up, right? They've got to be nice. If Ulfric goes, yeah, let's kill him, he loses the Dragonborn support, because that's the reason why Sigurd and Centaurus are sent to gain the Dragonborn as an ally, right? So when the dragons are dealt with, they will join their side. They can't do that if they betray the Dragonborn's trust, so they can't afford to kill the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, alright. And so his cousin decides to get married during this peacetime between the Stormcloaks and Imperials, because both the husband and the wife are on either sides of this conflict. They decide to get married in solitude as a peaceful resolution during the truce. He then, you know, he's like, alright, shit, that's going to start the Emperor to come over. We'll kill her now, since they've now planned their wedding. And this, you know, basically the fake Emperor comes to test out the theory, will the Stormcloaks try and kill me? The fake Emperor is assassinated, and the Emperor basically goes, nope. And the Pentilius Oculatus burn down the... Oh, this is all spoilers and shit, but anyway. Burn down the place. Now, they basically disappear, because they're believed to be killed and destroyed, and there's very few of them left. I do have, like, some mod which allows them to survive. But, like, they disappear, and they rebuild the Sanctuary in Dawnstar, and they stay silent. They might do bounty missions to keep money floating, but without leaving a presence of them to be known. Because, you know... But then eventually, the Civil War has come to an end, Empire has won, and the Emperor needs to go say goodbye to his cousin. Even though the funeral's been done, he needs to honour his cousin. But also, he needs to visit the victorious troops of the Empire that have now, you know, basically brought peace to Skyrim. And he's done his speech on the big bridge, he's ordered the troops of his, you know, his presence, blah blah. He's back on his boat, he's going to disappear. The Brotherhood sends a message towards the Montier. The Montiers come back in the inn. He goes, yep, we just found out he's back, we're willing to do the contract again, and oh, you're alive, rightio, good. Well, he's on his boat, go deal with him. And the contractor will then make his way to kill the Emperor after the dragons are done, after the Civil War's done. So he's pretty much like an endgame character. This is his design, is to finish off the game, kind of finish off the chapters, put an end to the Civil War, you know, sort of storyline, Dragonborn storyline. And then eventually that opens up to mods like Beyond Skyrim, which is a big thing I really want to get into with these multiple characters, and make brand new characters. Where he's the reason why the Emperor's dead, and the Seat of the Sundered King's questline for Beyond Skyrim can then only be enabled due to his actions, which could very well be Centaurus going home to Cyrodiil to, you know, aid the Empire in picking a new Emperor, something like that. And this is kind of he's the closed door to Skyrim's story, but also the opening door to Beyond Skyrim, when eventually it comes out, which can still be a couple of years away. And by then I might already have, like, a couple of versions of the story redone, edited a little bit better, and because I definitely want to fix things up, especially when Sky Oblivion comes out. I want to fix Cicely up, because she's gonna be a character in that. You're gonna see her as a young mortal woman during the midst of the Oblivion crisis, and there's definitely some items that you could have when she's in Skyrim, when, you know, she's going through her story in the year 200. But his entire thing is to, you know, be an assassin. I wanted to kind of show that he was still working in the background, that he was still killing people. You know, he still had contracts. He wasn't just sitting on his ass doing absolutely nothing for months. You know, the winter's here. He's still out there killing, and since Vici's wedding is postponed, he has just got to kill people, you know, for jobs, spread some fear around before that contract with killing the Emperor comes into effect. And it might not. Like, he doesn't know if it will, because the Civil War could end with the Stormcloaks winning, and he might have to go into Cyrodiil to kill. But again, the plan is to wait for... Well, the Emperor's too well guarded in Cyrodiil. his plan is to wait, see when they get married, and then to kill, and then to see if the Emperor will follow through by coming to basically honour his cousin. But this bit I like right here. This kind of shows the kind of maniac he is. That he wants to kill a target in front of those he loves. He wants to kill them out in front of people. He wants that fear. He wants that dread. And then when the defenders come, the guards, to save him, he wants to cut them down and slaughter them and watch the fear in the eyes of everyone around him. Because his name will be known then. They'll know a man in a black with a skull mask who fed on people right there. And there's this bit right here. It's like this. He's a psycho. You know, it doesn't matter if you're an old woman, you're a kid. If there's been a hit put on your head, he will take it. He'll put his knife through your baby in the crib. He'll slit your grandmother's throat sitting down in her armchair doing the knitting. He doesn't care. Your life is meaningless. Not only, well, it's not for him. It's meaningful to end you, pretty much. And that's kind of his entire lot in life. Growing up in the Tharn family in the background as one of the families that kind of done the whole spy assassination thing. That, you know, he grew up in a big ass family and kind of put in the background where he just became a bit of a distant kid that grew up and joined his grandfather or great uncle or whatever the hell he was, and he joined more like Bull. And ever since then he's gone on a killing spree, and he's done too much death, and he's had to hide in a tomb for a couple hundred years before eventually the guy that was meant to wake him up every couple hundred years was killed in the Oblivion Crisis, and yeah, he woke up 500 years after he was put to sleep, which he finds himself in Skyrim. But I've gone on more than enough about the Contractor right now. This is kind of his chapter, just killing people, reminding that he's still out there, he's still doing his job, and that he's still loving it. Now, I wanted the dragon to show up and actually attack somebody, and I thought, why not a dude that's fortified on a big-ass keep with shit tons of soldiers, perfect place for the shit to hit the fan. Now, when he hears this roar, he remembers Falskar. The first time anyone saw a living dragon would have been Centaurus. Minerva saw an undead one, she fought an undead one, but it was a pile of bones, it was easy to kill. But he hears this roar, and outside is an actual dragon, but the last time he heard that was like a month ago when he saw it in Falskar, and it's like, nah, it can't be true. And he believes at this time that it's his fault the dragons are back from the events of Falskar, that he activated the dragon somehow, that they're back because of him. You know, he believes, holy shit, this is all because of me, because of the dragon and Falskar. Now they're back. And I kind of wanted to show that, you know, he thinks it's his fault, but also to show how powerless he's become. You know, like, he's a very confident soldier, very pro-imperial, very thinks he can kill anything that's in front of him, or will kill anything that's in front of him. But when it comes to the dragon, it's fear, it's helplessness. You know, he can't do anything. He's just a man with two legs and a sword and a shield. This is a dragon that can fly with wings and it can breathe fire, or in this case, necromantic fire, which resurrects the dead soldiers to serve the dragon. And this entire thing is to showcase how powerless he is, how useless he is, how scared he is of this thing. Because the first time he sees a dragon is bones on the wall in Dragon's Reach, in like chapter Civil War, I think it is. And he's like, holy shit, how can men fight such a beast? And now he's physically seen one, you know, attack his Imperial soldiers after about 6 or so months after that actual event. And this bit, man, this bit was awesome. I was like, oh shit, get behind the wall. Still managed to burn me somehow, but it just like, you see that purple fire, man, just put all those soldiers down and onto their knees. And then it starts to resurrect. I didn't plan this dragon. It actually popped up on its own, which was good. And that it was a necromantic dragon was even better, because I knew how dangerous they are. Because any target they kill is resurrected and they turn against you, and that's awesome. Then the mages and all the archers finally took one out, proving they could die, earning him a reputation of being the Dragon Slayer Legion, and they survived. And I did mess this bit up, both in audio and both in writing. The first one I wrote like 5 hours later, and then I messed it up, and then I realised the audio was also like an hour later, even though it's sunset. But it's meant to be like 5 hours later. But again, the sun should go down earlier when it comes to winter, and they're attacked by, well, a certain character that follows their impulses. She saw a dragon attack from Fort Greymore and thought, well, the Imperials are going to be injured, staggered, and without any numbers, so we'll smash them. But unfortunately for, you know, she relied on her impulses without her actual tactical thinking, which is more her sister's side of thing. You'll see her real soon actually attack Centaurus with her shield and her face mask on. But yeah, it didn't really... There she... that's not her. There she is. Oh, you can see her shield. But it kind of... Yeah, she didn't there she is. Didn't think about it too well, and that's kind of her problems. That Sigun was the first cutout of her mother, so she's the oldest by like could be like 10 seconds. Ignore the floating body, but Sigun's always been the smart one. The kind of think first before you act, and Brianna's been the fuck that, I'm throwing my axe, But without Sigun there to kind of guide her and put that weapon to good use, Brianna's just kind of thought, I can earn some glory here. I can wipe out this place like I did with Whiterun. Because Brianna's the one that led the attack on Fort Sunguard when they cleared Whiterun. But back then it wasn't guarded by the 99th cohort. It wasn't guarded by Centaurus. It was guarded by just legionaries. And Brianna slaughtered them. But she came back thinking she could do it again, especially with the dragon wiping them out. Thought, yep, this is going to be a walk in the park. And then she's met the 99th cohort, and of course the Imperial soldiers there stationed, and Centaurus, who's an Imperial vanguard. And she's gotten her ass handed to her. And as you can see, it's quite a mess. But she lived, and Centaurus normally, he hates rebels. He'll cut them down this time of his life. He's not going to show mercy. But he sees that she's alive, and he's got some weird sense. It's not a sense that she's a member of the Dragonborn Companions, but it's a sense that she's important. And it's that sense because now, if you're a long-time viewer of my channel, in the first couple of chapters, well before the Civil War properly actually started with the Battle of Whiterun, Centaurus was an ordinary Imperial soldier that was sent to clear out Fort Haragstag with an Imperial vanguard, the niece of General Tullius, Marulia Tullius. And they did that. And the night after the capture of that fort, and the Imperials were already there, he had a weird feeling. He went up to the watchtower and he looked down upon this fort in the distance in the far coast of Skyrim, and he had this really strange feeling. At the very same time, that fort was then just sacked and butchered by the Stormcloak soldiers, the Bearclaw raiders. They'd gone in there to infiltrate, to kill them, and to get the Greymane brother out. And she was sitting on top of a watchtower that elves normally sit to watch the coast, and she looked up into the fort, and she had the very same weird feeling looking up to the fort in the mountain. Because they had this, like, it's a bit more of a connection. It's not so much exactly that they are the Dragonborn's companions, but there's more there. And he's even sensing this, that she is important somehow, because he senses that she's important not because she's the Dragonborn's companion, but there's something else deep down. There's something saying don't, because this is an important mark on your choice, which will relate to this certain other person in the future. If he was to kill her, his chances of getting along with this person is gone. This is her twin sister. This is her other self, pretty much. So something deep down told him not to, and he followed that feeling, which will help him out in the future with that certain person. Like I said, with Sigund, she's full of hatred right now, and she might learn to be a bit more forgiving in the future. And when she first sees Centaurus, she's going to hate his guts. But Centaurus is going to reveal that he did not kill her sister, and again, like I said, that's going to earn him some favour amongst Sigund, when it comes to his troops in the future, when the war is back on after the truce. And there's so much shit, man, in the background, like, I don't want to type 1,000 words for, but it's a big story, and I hope you guys stick around to enjoy it. Now, before I go, I want to talk about certain characters, like followers, that, well, I create my own personal armies pretty much as followers. Like the guy behind me, he's walking, he's just an ordinary Imperial levelist. He shares the face of thousands of different other Imperial soldiers. When I do that with the 99th cohort and the Bearclaw raiders, they're all personalised. They're all unique looking people with their own names, their own little stories in the background. Or they're not really necessarily to have their own stories, but they look unique, they feel unique, and when they die, it kind of sucks. And so every battle, we're going to lose people, like the 3 raiders, like that older woman. She was the only mage that I had in the Bearclaw Brigaders, but her entire family was killed. Her daughter at Winterhold, her son and husband at, I think, the Battle of Morthal, or the fort there, they all died. Her last wish was to pretty much die in combat, to go to Sovngarde and earn it and be with her family. And they were all created personalised followers. I create families, I create couples, I create gay couples, especially in the Empire. Especially, and one of them's actually here, but also other characters that show up in different chapters. Like one of them we haven't seen for a very long time. Well, she's been there in the background, but you will never really notice her because you're not going to really remember her face. Now, we've got one important character here. It's actually an in-game character, and, well, he's one of the characters you first meet when you walk into Whiterun. He's having a conversation with the blacksmith, This is the Battleborn dude. He joined Centaurus' unit after the Battle of Whiterun, and eventually he's died pretty much on the border of Whiterun. I don't know why his lips made that. It looks very suspect, those lips, but I don't imagine a dead face would have their lips perched like that. You know, like it's like someone molested his face when he died. You know, he's still warm a little bit. Other than that, he's carked it. This is one of those Imperial soldiers that I just made personalised for myself. You know, he's just another dude. He doesn't really have a story or a name. He's just a unique face with a unique name. Came from Cyrodiil. That's as far as his story goes. But he's unique compared to every other Imperial soldier that shares the exact same face. This one right here is what I'm talking about. This elf is a mercenary. She joined under the, as a contract to basically join the Imperials. But the very last time we saw her was in one of the first chapters for Minerva, the mage character, when she was locked up in the Silverblood mine. This was one of the elves that was prisoner in that prison that basically helped Minerva escape as a sword hand with a couple others, and they're spread across the world too. We saw one of the Forsworn girls in the Heart of the Reach questline, and the Stormcloak in that questline, the Silverblood prison break, is also a Stormcloak soldier now. She's fighting with the Bearclaw Battalion or the Bearclaw Brigade or whatever the hell I call them. But this is the elf that was in Minerva's chapter breaking out of the Silverblood mine. So she eventually found her way to join under the became a mercenary and sold herself to the Empire as a soldier. And this is how her story ends. It started in a mine it started in a mine years ago, and eventually, because I think that starts like 199 of the year 200, and it ends at the very end of the year 201, dead from, by the looks of her face, dead from a Stormcloak. And then we've got a DC here. Now DC is a unique character to me because on my last playthrough, before I started on this this YouTube series, I created her with, she's a lesbian couple. She's with her wife, who's a Nord, and I created their story to be in Windhelm. In my game alone, because it's a work of fiction. Since the Nord is a very racist or very pro-frick, they're not very, like I said, if it's a racist, I don't believe it's not going to be a homophobe too. So I see that Eastern pro-Nords is like, no, it needs to be between a man and a woman, and preferably between a Nord and a Nord. And especially when it's between a Nord and a filthy Argonian wetback, they're not going to be happy about that. So when they found out this Nord woman has been being around and being intimate or being close with an Argonian woman, they weren't a fan of that, and they kidnapped this Argonian woman, tortured her, and tried to kill her before her Nord partner broke through, killed the men in surprise, and fled the city with her woman. Got married and joined on the Legion, because the Legion in the Empire doesn't really care about who you bed as long as you're loyal to the Empire. And so a lot of the Western Nords really don't care if you're... Some of them might, but most of them don't, because the Empire really doesn't. They don't give a shit about homosexuality at all. Do what you want to do, but as long as you're loyal to the Empire, no one gives a shit. So they joined on the Empire to kind of help free Skyrim of its prejudice against same-sex couples. And in this one she's died in battle, but in the last one I was doing the Battle of the Pale, and her wife, the Nord wife, was killed, and she almost died, but she was on her knees in like that sort of bleed out animation, but it was right beside her wife, pointing towards her wife, and it looked so cinematic. It's like she was crippled by sadness that her wife was dead in front of her, and she would just... It was like a movie scene almost, and she became a bloodthirsty in that one. Like she just like the whole idea, the whole saying behind anyone wearing the blue will be lying in a pool of red came from sort of her character design, because she became a vanguard in that story because she was just a killer machine. I gave her like war paint, more scars, and I made her an absolute warhouse before she eventually died. Too, I think it was actually browner. But that was a previous story. Her story in that one was very intense, and in this story it's kind of changed the way she dies before a wife. Might make the wife a bloodthirsty killing machine that really wants to kill Stormcloaks now. Anyway, that's that. But if you like this sort of stuff, give it a like, and if you got anything to say, any ideas or any inspirations, anything like that, or you just like the story or dislike the story, let me know in the comments, because I'll always reply. If it's a really shit reply, it'll be a smart ass reply from me, 100%. I'm very bare bones. But yeah, if you comment, I'll always comment back, because I like to have conversations about these sort of things with like-minded people. And also, the more you comment, the kind of more it gets out there, the more algorithm picks it up. So more people that might really like this stuff will find these videos and be able to go back and check out all the content before it, which will be hours upon hours. So it'll pick up new people that like this sort of stuff that haven't seen me before, and they'll tag along for the future stuff and stuff like that. Anyway, like I said, if you got anything to say, let me know in the comments, and if you like it, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. And I'll catch you dudes in the next episode. Look after yourselves, and peace out.